Now we're here on Smells Like 90s Rock, and like we were saying, DJ P.O.R is here on the first air break. Everybody's
Doesn't
here.
happen often.
Doesn't happen often. Sheila is in South Carolina, as I just found out. So
Yep.
good for her.
She said she's also on the reading portion of the second half of her thesis.
So are
making progress.
Are we 50% done then? I guess is that what she's trying to say?
Well, I don't. She didn't give any percentages.
We'll go with that anyway.
She was between 3 and 66%.
The last time we were here was for that.
We'll just say that she's making progress.
Right. Yes, and the last time we were here was 2 weeks ago, and the reason for that was because, unfortunately, we got locked out from the station last week. That's the first time that has ever happened in Smells Like 90s Rock history in almost 5 years.
We're not students anymore, Todd. This is a student radio station.
Well, but we've always had a way in. Michael Smith, who was the former host of 80s Rock Hospital, was always here. Or if he left early, he'd leave a prop in the door, and so we never thought twice about it. This was nobody's fault. If anything, it was our fault because I found out there is a way that we can actually reactivate our cards if we want to do it.
Really?
Yeah, our ID cards, for those who don't know what we're talking about, that's what lets you into buildings after hours is our ID cards. You can swipe them and you can get in. It costs a little money, but it's worth it if we're going to be in here every week. But anyway.
I prefer the parking cone in the door.
Parking cone in the door works, doesn't it?
I'll probably just stick with that.
It works. It helps a lot.
I don't like to spend money.
I understand. No, neither do I. I hear you there. But it's very cheap if anybody is looking to do it. But anyway.
Yeah, if anybody wants to gain access to the station after hours, you have to pay a little money,
yes,
but you can do it.
To anybody who works at 90.3 The Rock and needs to get it done anyway. But
you probably have to be verified, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so not anybody.
Yeah. No, nobody can actually do it unless that you're in the system and you have a reason for doing it. They won't allow you to do it.
Yeah, all you literature majors, we know this is the cool part of campus.
That's right.
But you can't come in.
You can't come in, sorry.
Unless you have business here.
That's right. But no, yeah, it was crazy. There was Henry was still, who was the new host of the 80s Rock Off, was still out of town. He just got back into Knoxville that night.
Poor old Henry.
Yeah, and JP from Kill Ugly Radio went to go pick him up. And poor JP. See, what happened was there was a substitute in line for the 80s Rock Off, but he didn't show up. Oh. And so JP had to come in and get it going for at least an hour. And as I found out, he left like at 11 o'clock in order to go pick up Henry and Colton from also from Kill Ugly.
Yeah, Kill Ugly.
So he had to go pick them up. So it is nobody's fault. It is not Henry's fault. It is not JP's fault. It is the fault of the person who didn't come in to do the show when they were supposed to, 80s Rock Off. But we're not blaming anybody. But yeah, unfortunately, Smells Like 90s Rock was not on last week because we couldn't get into the station. And I tell you that the whole.
I saw we got no Facebook likes this week.
Didn't.
So
no, we.
I doubt if anybody missed it. No offense to them.
No. I think we even lost one. So
we lost a like.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I don't know. I can't remember. But
Stu from the fort, we're sorry.
Yeah, sorry, and we weren't on. It's not our fault. We tried. We did. We really tried. But that's what went down. It was just
It was a thing.
It was a thing. It happens, and it might happen again in the future. I do know this. I will never call Central Alarm again to help me out. That's
why.
Sure. Okay. Well. So. I didn't know this, and this really was a stupid move after I'd realized it, because Central Alarm will send a police officer out to let people in to reactivate their cards for people who are still in the system. For people like you and me, we've already been taken out of the system, UT's system, and I'm like air quoting in here, system, and so therefore we couldn't get our card reactivated by Central Alarm because they can't do it because we're not in their system. And at that point, you would need somebody to verify for you. Well, I mean, we do this show, at midnight? Midnight to 2 a.m. Benny Smith, our general manager, and Tony Farina, our promotions director and marketing director, those are the only two people that could verify us here. And unfortunately, it's after hours. There's really no way of getting in touch with them. So
and Ollie.
And Ollie unfortunately wasn't here either. He was off doing other things.
He could have verified us.
He could have verified, and he couldn't. He didn't, and he couldn't.
He's stuck in North Korea.
I'm pretty sure that nobody would understand him even if he could. So I think it would have been a lost cause for Ollie to help us out. But yeah, and there's a very nice custodian who works here on our floor. Recognized me, but again couldn't let me in because he didn't, and I didn't want him to get in trouble either. He couldn't really help me either because, don't want to cost his job. and he didn't know who we were. Good news is, I think he's going to get a list of all of our names, so we won't ever have this problem. He won't have that problem again either. But I would so like to thank the University of Tennessee Police Department for being as snooty as humanly possible to me. That really made my evening, and but you know. It is what it is. I won't go into great details.
Hey man, they're not allowed to carry firearms, so
they're not.
they need some sarcasm under the belt.
I guess so. I guess that is their weapon of choice is sarcasm. So thanks for that. But I was told to. I love this. Leave the premises. I'd never been told that in my life, and I'd never been treated like I have by a police officer. Than that guy right there, whoever he was.
Whoever you were, dude.
Whoever you were, thanks for making my night. And it really pisses me off because, for those of you who don't know, I've been raised under law enforcement my entire life. So I know my rights. I know the law. I probably know the law better than most of the criminal justice majors on this campus. I'm just saying. Because I've had it
You should have been a criminal justice major, man.
I probably should have, yeah. It just wasn't really my thing. But I've had it drilled into me since the day I was born. So, you know, I know this stuff. And so I know that if he can't get anybody to verify, I need to go. You don't have to say it to my face and make a scene. You know, seriously. That was just my opinion on the whole matter. I don't want to get into it because he just, you know, it brings up bad emotions because I was highly pissed off when I left here last week. But again, it wasn't because we couldn't do the show. I hated that we couldn't do the show, but you know what? It's nice to have a week off every so often.
Yeah,
I got to bed.
Nice.
I had to get up early the next day anyway, so it was nice to get a little, like an extra hour of sleep, so I was okay with it. But if you missed us last week, we are sorry. That's what happened.